You finally did it. You tracked down the game. The one you've played to death as a kid. The one you've been hyping to everyone for years. And you boot it up, heart full, ready to go at it. And, did it always look like that? Were the controls always this clunky? This was the greatest game ever made. This was art. And now it kind of plays like garbage. Here's the thing though, and it's gonna sting a little. The game didn't get worse. The game is exactly the same as it always was. It's your memory that's been lying to you for years. And this is the weird part. It's been lying to you out of kindness. First thing you need to accept, you don't actually remember the game. Not really. Your brain doesn't record memories like a video file. It rebuilds them every time you think about them. And every time, it does a little editing. It's not a recording. It's a story you keep retelling yourself. And the story gets cleaner every pass. So what got edited out? The boring stuff. The 40 hours of grinding. The bit where you were stuck on one level for a week and nearly threw the controller. The loading screens. The repetitive nonsense. It's all deleted. And what got kept? The peak. The one time you beat the boss you thought it was impossible. The ending that made your jaw drop. There's a psychology term for this. We judge our memories of an experience almost entirely by the best moments and the final moments. And basically ignore the average. So a game that was honestly 90% mid and 10% incredible gets filed in your head as just incredible. Your brain kept the trailer and threw away the actual movie. That's not the game being amazing, that's your memory being a fantastic editor. But the editing isn't even the main thing. Here's the real one. You're not actually nostalgic for the game. You're nostalgic for who you were when you played it. Think about it when you loved the game. You were a kid. It was summer maybe, no job, no bills, no emails. The biggest problem in your life was getting to the next save point before the dinner. You had this thing adults would trade anything for. Endless, unstructured, gloriously empty time. The game wasn't the magic. The game was just where the magic happened to be sitting. It's the same thing I said about Destiny, if you saw that one. The game is the container, and what's inside the container isn't pixels, it's a whole era of your life. The friend who sat on the couch next to you, the version of you that hadn't been worn down yet. When you fire up that old game, you're not really trying to play it, you're trying to visit them. And no remaster in the world can patch that in. There's also a brutal, unfixable reason old games felt bigger. You were new. When you were a kid, everything was the first time. Your first open world felt infinite, because you'd never seen one before. Your first plot was destroyed you, because you didn't know games could do that. You had no comparison, no standards, no jaded little voice going, this is just a reskin of that other thing. Everything was genuinely properly new. And new stuff hits kids' brain like a freight train. First experiences burn in deep. Now, you've played 500 games. You've seen every twist, every mechanic, every trick. You walk in with the standards of a film critic and the wonder of a tired accountant. It's not that the games got worse. It's that you can never play one for the first time again. That feeling you're chasing isn't, this old game was better. It's, I want to be amazed by something the way I was when I was 9. And that's a much harder thing to get back. Which is exactly why the game industry has your number. They know this feeling. They know you'd pay real money to feel 9 years old again. So they sell it back to you. Remasters, remakes, definitive editions, the same game with a fresh coat of paint and a price tag. And you buy it. Buy it every time, hoping this is the one that brings the feeling back. But it never quite does. Because the thing you're trying to buy was never in the game. You can remaster the textures. You cannot remaster being a kid with a whole summer ahead of you and no idea how good you had it. They're selling you a door and pretending it leads to a place that doesn't exist anymore. The graphics come back in 4K, your childhood does not. Okay, so far this has been kind of a bummer. Let me fix that, because there's a genuine twist here. For most of history, people thought nostalgia was a disease. Not really. A few hundred years ago, a doctor coined the word to describe soldiers who got some homesick, they got physically ill. For centuries, it was treated as a medical problem, a sickness, something wrong with you. And then, fairly recently, psychologists actually studied it. and found the complete opposite. Nostalgia isn't a glitch, it's a tool. When people feel lonely or stressed or like life's lost its meaning, nostalgia kicks in. Nostalgia kicks in on its own and it genuinely helps. It boosts your mood, makes you feel connected to people, and reminds you your life has meant something. It's your brain's built-in comfort blanket. So that bittersweet ache you get booting up an old game, that's not you being pathetic or stuck in the past. That's a several 100,000-year-old emotional system doing its actual job, reaching back into your best memories to make right now feel a little warmer. The lie your memory told you about that game, it told it on purpose. Because that polished golden version of that past is the one that comforts you. And that's not a bug. That's a gift. Anyways, talk to her.